All right. Hey, everyone. Quick thing before we get into this episode. If you're a real estate agent, you probably are if you're watching or listening. And if you, as you're about to find and watch and experience yourself, if you want to be the coachee for our next Breakthrough with Michael episode, we have a brand new form for you to fill out. Michael created it. It's on his website. We will send that to you, or rather, we will have that in the description. And if you, of course, want to see it, want to fill this out and don't have it, send us a note. We'll send it to you. And we are always looking for agents. We pick one of you a month, and we want to help you in your business. So this is very exciting. It's a live on-camera coaching session with Michael Opid. So if that sounds like you, if you need some help in your business, please apply. We'd love to learn more about you. Okay, welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm DJ Paris. This is the largest real estate podcast for realtors, made by realtors. Today, we are in a new series that I am so excited about. It's something I've been wanting to do for 8 years since I started this show. It's called Breakthrough with Michael. So here's what it is. Every month, Michael Opid, who is an unbelievable real estate coach and also somebody that I have known personally for years, he's a great guy and really just is so fantastic at his job. He is going to sit down with one of our listeners, not for an interview, not for a chat, but for a live coaching session. This is a real breakthrough on camera, unscripted, whatever comes up, comes up. So who is Michael? So Michael Opid is a realtor, mental performance strategist with 20 years in real estate, 10 of those years as a brokerage owner, running over 200 million in annual sales. What makes him different, and the reason that we built this series around him, is that he spent more than 25,000 hours studying high performers, not systems, not scripts, the actual psychology of what separates the top 1% from everyone else. His take is pretty blunt, which is real estate doesn't have a strategy problem. It has a you problem. His work goes after the identity and belief patterns underneath everything else, the stuff most coaches never touch. And unlike a lot of real estate coaches, Michael has been a top producer himself. So he has been in the trenches. He's run a brokerage. He's managed agents. And now he's here helping us with his amazing coaching. And he himself is a coach, of course. So if you like what you are hearing, you should reach out to Michael if you want to take your real estate game to the next level. Today is I am so excited to bring on our guest because she has actually been on the show before, probably about 8 years ago or 7 years ago now. And she is coming back. I always have just admired her from afar, and I'm just a big fan. So this is Julia Lundquist. So she has been helping buyers and sellers across Chicago, the North Shore, and Northwest suburbs for more than a decade, building her business around one simple philosophy: put the client first. She understands that buying and selling a home is often one of the most significant financial and emotional decisions a person will make. She approaches every transaction with honesty, empathy, and attention to detail. So known for her proactive marketing strategies and strong negotiation skills, and just being a genuinely good human being and nice person, Julia is committed to helping clients achieve their real estate goals with confidence. Her dedication has earned her recognition as a top producer and recipient of At Properties Road to Rolex Award. She is an At Properties agent here in the Chicagoland area, city suburbs. By the way, if you are an agent in another part of the country, and you probably are, if you have clients that move into this area, Julia would love to talk to you because perhaps that would be a great referral opportunity. And guess what? She has clients that leave Chicago, especially when it gets cold, and they go to fun places like Florida and Arizona and Texas and wherever else people retire from here, or at least escape during the winter months. So reach out to her. She would love to hear from you. You can find her on Instagram, Julia_Lindquist. That's LINDQUIST_. By the way, we'll have a link to that in the show notes, so don't worry about that. We'll have an easy way to find her. And you should reach out to Michael Opid, number one, to learn all about his coaching. And he has all sorts of resources on his website as well. Michael Opid, which is OPYD. Find him on all the different social channels, especially Instagram. We will have a link to that in the show notes. I want to, before introducing Julia, want to give the audience a little preview of, we always ask our guests who are on the coaching session to review their current situation. So here's 3 stats I want to give for Julia, and we're going to see if we can help her, or Michael can help her rather. So her confidence level on a scale from 1 to 10 currently is a 7, which makes sense. She is a big producer. She's confident. She's been doing this a long time. Her clarity level is lower than she would like. It's a 3 out of 10. So we're going to work probably on that. And the most important one, stress and overwhelm. She is a mom. She has 3 kids. She's busy with family life. And she, oh, by the way, is selling a home and buying a home all at the same time. And I just did that. So I know how stressful it is. And I have no kids and it was super stressful. And she's running a business and of course, all the stuff in between. And she has that as a 9 out of 10 on the stress scale. So a lot to work with. I will turn it over to my friend and the coach, 2 of my friends on this podcast. I am so excited to have both of you here, Michael Opid and Julia Lundquist. Michael, take it away.
All right, Julia, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm tired. I'm very tired, which is every day. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I appreciate DJ kind of giving everyone a little bit of background on you. I would really like to start just in your own words. Talk to me more about what's going on right now.
I've been doing real estate for 12 years now. In the beginning, I had a partner who it was fun. She's one of my best friends, so we were a great team. And we didn't have kids yet. We weren't married yet. We just were able to like dive into everything together. But then as life changes and you have other priorities come up, I personally think I've lost like a lot of any sense of systems that I used to have. And I'm struggling to get back on the train of systems and organization when it comes to running my business like a business. I have done barely any marketing. And I also just think too, for the last few years, I've really just been flying by the seat of my pants, but I was kind of pregnant for like 5 years there, and it's sickly pregnant. So I was just trying to get by and help my clients.
Okay.
And I had some of my best years. So, I know that I'm capable of doing things. I'm struggling to get back into the business form of real estate, and just building a business, doing my marketing, things like that.
Absolutely. So struggling, obviously, I could totally understand why the stress would be there and the high level of stress when you're struggling. Obviously, everything just piles up, right? That's just kind of how we operate as humans. So, so this stress, when did this start? Like, do you have can you pinpoint kind of like maybe 6 months ago or whenever that this really started?
Well, I was 3 years old and I've run my whole life high anxiety. So it's always been an issue. But the heavy stress of, I think once I came out of having babies and my youngest turned a certain age, which he's only 15 months right now, so he's not that old. But now that I see like the light at the end of the tunnel, like we will sleep again, things, one's leaving daycare now, we will get into schools, like a regular school day. Now that I see that approaching, and I'm back out in my community and meeting more people, I feel stressed that I have not done enough to get these systems in place. And I would like to, especially, going into a new fall. I mean, it's only summer now, but like getting them set up now so that come fall, I'm ready to hit the ground running on them and hopefully create a good foundation for the spring market of 2027.
Gotcha. All right. So you're already thinking ahead. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the stress, the most recent stress probably started like 6 or 7 months ago when I started feeling human again. But I mean, I will always be stressed in some capacity.
You always had stress. But about 6 or 7 months ago, it's kind of when it really kind of almost hits you in a way, right? And is that just when you kind of realize that all the baby stuff's done, the family stuff's done, and now it's back to reality of like, I don't have to worry about, I don't want to say worry about that. You always worry about your kids, but now you're back to the reality of, oh my gosh, I got to run a business. Is that kind of what happened? Like that? Okay. Okay. And was there like
it's like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, was there like a specific thing that happened, like an event or anything that just that triggered that? Or was it like a casual thing? Because a lot of times it's like a significant event happens or something that you just kind of realize like, oh my gosh, like what am I doing? Was there anything like that happened?
No, I think it was more, I mean, yes, and I think what really happened was I put together the numbers of how much it costs to have 3 kids. Taxes went up in my town, how expensive it is to live here or live in Chicago or live in the suburbs outside of Chicago. And I just started factoring in, we're moving to a bigger house for more space. And I kind of put all the costs together and I'm like, okay, how do I make these numbers work every year? And how do I do it in a way where I'm not running on high stress? And I will say, I think there were probably a few moments of I was exhausted. I was racing to get to a showing on time. I was maybe not as prepared as I prefer to be. And I think that kind of stuff happening over and over again made it hard. And then I think too, once I got out of my husband's off paternity leave, the baby's getting older, is no longer really a good excuse to have your life be chaotic. That's when it really hit me that I have to get this stuff in order, because now I have 3 other schedules to manage on top of my clients and myself. So I do think that was, it was a kind of a culmination of all of that.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense, right? I mean, and in saying that, so, how is that making you feel? Like, I get the stress part, but what are some of the other emotions you're feeling during this time? Because it's also important to recognize just how we feel internally if we're going to make this change today. So, walk me through some of the emotions you're feeling through all this.
I feel like I'm I just feel like I'm a little bit chaotic, and I don't want to be that chaotic anymore. It worked in the past. I could do things quicker, but now like I said, I have 3 more people I mean, I have more than that. I worry about my parents and my husband and my family, my dog, but I have 3 children who I have to worry about. And to me, it's overwhelming and chaotic when I don't have more of a system and organization and a steadiness within myself. So I feel overwhelmed, very overwhelmed. Sometimes I just want to cry. I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I'm always racing from one thing to another. Some of it is the nature of the job. And so if I could make other aspects more level, I think that I could, I'm not running nonstop. So, I mean, because here's the thing, the job is out of our control sometimes when it comes to, there's a deadline, you have to see a place, we're in a seller's market. I have to get there with my clients. At least I think I do. And we have to submit an offer by tomorrow at 9 a.m. So that is out of my control. My child getting sick is out of my control. So if I could really hone in on what's in my control and make that a more organized, functional place, I think everything would be a little bit better. And I want to, I just don't know how to. My brain is a creative brain and it does not work like that.
Okay. No, thank you. And thank you so much for sharing that. It helps me tremendously get some context behind it. So you said something earlier that was very interesting. You said when you were explaining to me what was going on through all the chaos and everything with the children, you said you had some of your best years. Was that when you were having the kids or was that before the kids? I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
When I was pregnant with my first one was the one when I got the Road to Rolex. And I was also working another job because I was considering a move into commercial real estate. So I was actually just doing real estate on the side. So, and that was I don't know how. I was pregnant, I was sick, and I was only doing real estate on the side. And that's when I got my At Properties award. And so I think, some reason that year I think I was just maximizing on everything and I was just capable, and I didn't have kids yet. So I was okay working at night. I was okay working 24/7 aside from sleeping and when I would feel super nauseated in the morning. So my other best year was, honestly, every good year has been the year that my 3 children were born so far. So I don't know what that says. Okay, here's the thing. I actually do, I do okay in chaos, unlike others who can't handle it at all. I kind of thrive off of it a little bit. My mom's the same way. She's a reporter, so she works on deadlines. And I was a journalism major, so I've like always been better on a deadline. But to sustain, like, to not be panicked all the time, I know that's just not a good way to live. So
no, that'll
how many more years I could sustain this way of living is my point.
Yeah.
So
interested because place where you don't have that chaos, you're almost like lost, and we create stuff like create chaos and we do things that will bring back. We think that's when we're at our best, right? And we get really programmed in that, like, oh, I'm at my best when I'm super stressed. Like, no, you have success there, but if you were stressed out, you probably would have a better of life. You know, you keep them and expect to live a long life. But it is that say now that organized, yet for some reason when you had your children, when everything was crazy, you had everything organized, because there's no way you could do this job without it. Have a system set up or whatnot that you are in place.
Yeah,
you organize it one way or another, because there's no way.
That's true.
At all.
That's a really good point. I guess I have my own systems. They just don't feel like, I feel like I can't go past a certain amount with the current systems I have. But yes, I don't want to let anyone down. So I do have things in a systematic way, but you would
do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Some place, obviously, doesn't seem to be the issue as much as just trying to maybe put it a clearer picture is more or less, you know. Well, I'd love to know a little bit more. So, you know, are you really ready at this moment? Do you really feel like ready for? Curious is when every time I talk to what's always I really want to know, like, what's it going to look like, you know, 6 months down the line right now continues. Because I think people get so on today when out, I got to figure that we kind of forget that if you don't think about the future and what could potentially be down the line, it would actually sabotage that. You know, so like if you don't fix this today, if we don't get through this and we don't organize this, we don't help you through, what does that look like the line for you and for your family? That's obviously a
part. If we don't fix it, I mean, I think I'm just gonna continue to be in a state of you know, running from here to here to here, doing things last minute, forgetting stuff that I have to do for my kids. And honestly, I usually pull it all off, but I pull it all off on little sleep, and that really messes with me too. And then I don't take care of myself. So that's a big part of it too. Like, I think if I spent more time better preparing for the other stuff, I could have some time to sleep better, to work out, to cook dinner, things I used to do.
I want to pop in for a second because this is such a relatable issue for everyone out there who is trying to balance work and life, especially all the moms who are realtors. Of course, everybody, but certainly moms, because there's what's that old joke? If you want something done, give it to a busy mom, right? Because they do everything. But the reality of it is this Michael's really walking Julia through the sort of ghost of Christmas future scenario from A Christmas Carol, in a sense. Like, what will be the result if things don't improve, which isn't always a fun or comfortable exercise, but really important one, because it's easy to not look forward and not look to see what doesn't progress in the way we want it to if changes aren't made. And sometimes the discomfort of that vision or the pain of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be, this type of person I don't want to be, can oftentimes be enough to sort of get somebody motivated. So I just want everyone who's listening to really think about, everyone's got problems in their business. Think about a challenge that you have that if you didn't fix it might actually impact your life in a way that you would not prefer. And that's okay. Everybody's got them. And I'll take it back to you, Michael.
No, and DJ is totally right on that. And Julia, obviously you're feeling that too. You agree with that. And here's the thing was really interesting. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I would say his point made me think more that it's really going to impact me. Like, I think my business will be fine because it has been, and maybe even be good. My kids will be good because they have been, but I won't be. So I can only go for, I'm already noticing my body's aching. I'm already noticing I'm not working out. I used to play sports. I always worked out, just to feel good, and I'm not doing that. So I see it in my face and myself and I'm tired. I'm loopy, all of those things. I don't think I will be good in a year.
Yeah.
I want to pop in one more time because one thing I know about Julia, you're an athlete. You're not just a workout person. You were an athlete. You played basketball. You were I remember this from 8 years ago when we talked. You are a competitor. You're an athlete. So for you to not be physically active must be really hard for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Good memory, by the way. Yeah. So it's part of my mental health, and so that's definitely been something I've not done, and I don't, it feels weird to me and I don't like it, but I'm so exhausted at the end of the day. And in the morning.
No, and it's up to you for recognizing that. I think so many people would bury that well below the surface, and I'll get to it someday, but it's like, why not get to it today? I think that's where so many people just kind of push stuff off. So, I'm so excited that you were willing to do this with us today, because I think that's a huge step in anyone trying to kind of get their life in a better order that they feel better about. And one of the things that creates stress, which is interesting, is when we have expectations, anything in general, and it doesn't, whatever we're doing doesn't meet that expectation, it creates that stress for us. So if you think about it, you think about, I want to go to this restaurant, and you read the reviews and a restaurant's great, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be the best meal ever, and the food is undercooked, or we have bad service, and now you think it's the worst restaurant ever, right? Because and it might not even have been the case. It might have been a decent meal, but it was not meeting you. So that is, you seem like someone who has high expectations that aren't being met right now, and when you don't do that, stress is naturally going to be an occurrence. And the other thing about stress, which is interesting, is all stress is a compression of time. Okay, so if you think you had 2 months to do a book report, you didn't feel stressed when it was announced. You felt stressed the night before when you didn't do shit, and now it's due, right? So for you, it sounds like you have a bunch of things going on, and you want this to be fixed quickly, because the stress that you're putting on yourself is to do that, and it's just not happening yet, which is wonderful that we're talking, because we're going to talk through that next. But I think that's kind of where your stress is coming from. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, I think that's very accurate. And the standards, and I'll just add one more thing that I think, back to what DJ was saying, but I think that as moms, a lot of, and dads too, I don't want to discount dads, but as moms, a lot of us struggle with, working moms of, do you maximize your career? Do you maximize your motherhood? You do it. I mean, I have a husband too. I have parents, I have family. What do you, I'm personally trying to find a good balance. There's a volume amount I want to hit every year to be proud of myself and sustain a lifestyle. But the most important thing to me is my family. And so I think that's always hard too when you say expectations, because it's hard to meet the expectations that I've set for myself in all of the realms that I live in.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind me asking, so you have expectations for different things. So what's the expectations like for the family? Is there you want to be able to take your kids places, be there present with your husband? You don't have to give me the way down deep, kind kind of give me like an idea of what those expectations look like for you. And then after you're done, if you don't mind, tell me what that expectation was for the production you were thinking.
Well, I've thought about how to make it work for both. So like for my kids, like I don't want to miss things. I don't want to miss games. I don't want to miss performances. I don't want to miss school, mother, daughter events, things like that. I also want to be present when I'm with them. So, it's hard in this job because the hours we work are the hours our kids are and husbands and wives and friends and family are home. And so I always struggle with that. So on the nights I'm not working or the weekends I'm not working, I really want to be present with my kids. And I want to be able to take a family vacation a couple times a year. I want to put my kids to bed if I have to miss dinner, but I'd rather, get dinner. So that's important to me. And then from a work perspective, I've thought about, what our bills are, what our life is like. And for me, if I, between 20 and $30 million dollars a year in volume, that's like my ultimate goal as I progress into the business. And then, also my most important goal as a broker is to just be there for my clients and treat them well and give them great service and not let anyone down. So to do that along with that production is really hard because you can only be in one place at one time. So that's another area I struggle. When I've had my bigger years, it's hard to be everywhere. So I think that was why when I was pregnant, it was one of my best years, just because I only had, my husband to worry about and like family events, but I didn't have my kids to worry about yet. So I was able to go, I was fine missing dinner. I was fine leaving early. And these are things I can't do anymore. Like I'm with the kids in the morning. I can't be anywhere super early unless it's a random walkthrough or something. And then I get help. But I think that's hard.
No, and I appreciate you sharing all that. And I think, first of all, I love the fact that the family is so important for you. I think a lot of people get lost in this job or on this path to success. And then it's like they look back later and they go, oh shit, I wish I would have done that, and they missed all that time. So cheers to you for finding what you think is that balance. That's amazing. So let's figure out how you get that balance as much as you can. All right. So take me back in time. You had the kids, you were pregnant, but you were having this success. What were some of the things you were doing then? Not the running around. You were talking about systems. So what were some of the things that you found were successful then that you think you could either are still doing or could do now? Because there obviously was plenty of things you were doing then. You weren't just running around. You had some kind of a system going. Like, was there anything that you were doing then that you're not doing now that you feel like you can use? Like, maybe use that as a starting point.
Okay. I thinking back, I did have somebody, and he's still on my team, but I had somebody on my team who was handling a lot more of my business one of the years. So that helped because I was still able to help my clients. I was still maybe doing one part of the deal, and he was doing the other part of the deal. So having someone help was huge. So I think that what really helped with one of my good years. Yeah, I guess that's probably the biggest thing. If I look back on all the years, is having another body to actually do some of the stuff. So then I could focus on what I'm better at. And I could, because again, you can't be in two places at once. And my business spans from, Chicago, as far as the South Loop, which I don't really do a lot in, but some of the South Loop all the way north, all the way to Lake Forest. And then out to the northwest suburbs, Park Ridge, where I live. If somebody wants to go to Hinsdale, go to Hinsdale. I've gone to Naperville. For me, it's the people more than the places. So that can be hard because there was a time I had to be in the West Loop and in Highland Park within 30 minutes of each other, and that's not easy to do. So I think when I was in the position where I absolutely had to utilize help because 2 showings were happening at the same time across town, I was actually able to find the help I needed, and it worked.
Got it.
I guess maybe that's what I should be revisiting.
So let me ask you about the 20, 30 million. Okay. So what's interesting about that is this is where I think a lot of agents can get confused. Like, what's the income that you want? If you don't mind me sharing, like, what does 20 to 30 million represent in income? Or let me ask you this, actually, let me rephrase. Is it more important for you to hit an income number or more important for you to hit the 20 to 30 million number? Realistically,
number.
First response, income number, right?
Income.
Okay. So if you hit your income number, but you did 15 million, are you going to be upset at the end of the year?
No.
Okay.
I don't care about the optics. I just care about bills.
Bills, exactly. Which life, right? Life's expensive.
Yeah.
So you're focusing on the wrong thing. Don't focus on the 20 to 30 million because you got to focus on what is going to take care of the life part of what you want to achieve. So if you have that income, I'm sure you have an income number in mind. You don't have to tell me, that's private information, but you have that income number in mind. You've already run the bills, right? You know what you need to make. So your goal shouldn't be 20, 30 million. It should be like, how do I get to that number? Because that's the only thing that makes a difference. Because like, here's what I'll tell agents a lot of times is they'll be like, I want to do 50 transactions this year. And I say, that's fantastic. What number do you want to achieve? Because people get so, and this isn't your case, but this is just an example of like, it doesn't matter what number of transactions. It matters for those agents, it's the production number. Because if you did, let's say your goal was $5 million, right? Would you be upset if you did 2 deals that totaled 5 million instead of like 50 at 100,000?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I would not.
Like, I think that's where your focus needs to be, is not the 20 to 30 million. It's to what's that income number and how do I achieve that? Because one of the ways to achieve that income number is you could do a referral system in a sense where partner with an agent in the suburbs or use your agent or bring on another agent who can handle that and you take your referral fee from them. Right. These are the type of things that I want you to start thinking about. Like, what other ways can you get creative that you're going to make income, but you're not running around crazy and you're there for your family? Right. Because there's plenty of agents that need business right now. It doesn't sound like for you that that's an issue with your past. I mean, I know you said it's unorganized and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But even with all the chaos, as you said, still generating a good business. So, and if you have aspirations for 20 or 30 million, I can only guess that you're probably doing a decent amount. So realistically, it's more of how do we get to your number, right? So that's one to just start thinking outside the box, right? We don't have to do it now. It's just something I want you to think about after. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that when I give you some stuff that you can use after. Now, the next thing I want you to think about is, what do you do on a daily basis? So talk me through, what are your habits? What are you doing every single day for your business, right? Because I know the life happens too, but what's the business stuff? Like, what's that timeline look like each day?
It's really bad. Can I take notes while we're talking, by the way?
Yeah.
Or will this come up?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm taking notes on a Sonic piece of paper because my notebook's over far away. So with a colored pencil. So my habits are really bad when it comes to work.
Humor me. What do you got?
I mean, I get done what I have to get done. I look at, the good ones are, my active clients. I'm always trying to kind of look through my active buyers. I'm looking through their collections of properties and I'm trying to, I suggest things that I see could be a fit that maybe they didn't see because they didn't like the kitchen countertops or something like that. So I feed into my active clients and my sellers. I'm checking in on stats and things like that. So I do that every day.
What's that time period? Do you do it for like a certain amount of time every morning? Like
it's usually about an hour to 2 hours. 9:30 and on.
Okay.
As I get all 3 of my kids to daycare in the morning, and they go 2 different places, and it's chaotic. Everything is, remember. But they're 4.5, 3.5, and 1, and the dog is barking at me, and my husband's already gone. So I do like the mornings are they're really not a good time. for me.
No.
So usually 9:30 and on, I'll be able to get started on other stuff. And again, unless there's an emergency or something that does come up before, then I just have my mom help. And then I just go through spurts. I feel like that's kind of how I work. I do, at least now, I'll do like a full 8-hour day of like getting through a bunch of stuff. And then the next day, because I might be on the road a lot, I might be at showings, and then I might stop at my favorite store if I'm on Armitage and Fremont, or go get groceries, or handle all the other tasks. So to me, I'm not really an everyday person, which I could change. I'm more of a like hard spurts of things. And then I will say I get very distracted. I love houses. So I get distracted when I'm looking at the houses. I start to redecorate them in my own mind. I get distracted when I'm with my clients. I talk to them for way too long. I get on phone calls a lot with my lenders and attorneys, and we talk for long. So I'm definitely easily distracted.
Got you. Okay, totally understand. And that's fine. Now we know kind of how your mind works. So these spurts you go on, you say 9:30, let's say the chaos happens in the morning. Totally understand that. I got twin boys. I know how the chaos works in my house. So 9:30, and how many days do you think you do that? Where you go through that spurt of following up? And I'm assuming it means following up with clients, right? Like in prospecting. Is that what you're doing during that time?
Not doing a ton of prospecting.
So how do you generate business?
I just talk to people.
Okay.
Where? I talk to people. I text a lot. I engage on social media. I go to events. I go to things. I spend time with my friends, my neighbors. I think probably socializing is my best way of getting business.
Okay.
And just keeping in touch, like checking in. So I guess I do prospect, but it's way more casual. I'm just checking in. I'm like, fine. Yeah.
Okay. Do you track it at all by any chance? Like, is there any? No. Okay. So here's what I don't want to do, where I think a lot of, and this is not a shot at coaches, but I think a lot of coaches, what they try to do is they try to take agents and fit them into their mold, their box. Here's what you should do. I don't want you to do that. That's not how I operate. You know what works for you. If this was something that wasn't working, I think we'd be having a very different conversation. This works for you. So I don't want you to stop that.
Okay.
What I want you to think about is, what, like, essentially, how do you free up the time from showing stuff, from doing anything that is going to take you away from the family? Because that obviously is the most important thing, but still helps you achieve your goals. So obviously running around, going crazy and stuff like that, like, you can't keep doing that. That's just not going to work. So I want you to think about, like, what systems could you put in place where either it's an agent you work with, or different expectations that you could set with clients, or maybe it's moving up to a different point. Like, your income is only through a couple of different ways. It's basically increasing the amount of agents you work with, or amount of buyers and sellers you work with, which we know isn't going to help. It's going to take more time away. It's allocating or delegating, which is definitely possible, or it's increasing your price point significantly. I mean, those are the only 3 ways that you can hit your income goal. And we know probably 2 of those are maybe the most realistic, having someone else do a lot of your work, and maybe increasing your price point. So like those would be your 2 focuses.
No, that's a really good point, because sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go, Julia. What were you going to say?
Well, no, I think that's a really good reminder to me, because like, if I look back on the years that I had really good, like I had my better years, I did focus more on the higher price points. Actually, I had really high price points one year, where I was working. And I also allocated more to further away locations or lower price points. I hate to say that. Everybody's important. Everybody's goal in home buying is important. But I did do that because I had to. So when I got to the point where I had to allocate, because like I said, I couldn't be in 2 places at once and both needed me, or I just couldn't take on another client and it was maybe a lower price point, I had to allocate, and then it worked. I think for me, if I don't have to allocate, I don't do it because I feel like I physically need to be there for everybody. And I feel like I'm letting people down, or they're not going to want to work with me because if they're calling me, they want me.
Right.
And I've struggled to find the right, and I haven't really looked, but I had a girl who was helping me a lot, and then she switched brokerages and she was a great help. So I've kind of like haven't really sought that out again recently. So I do think that allocating is a really good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're thinking about your price point, or not price point, if you're thinking about your income goal, let's say realistically, what would be the cutoff, for a price point you probably shouldn't be, I don't want to say working, but let's say, what could you allocate? Like, what would you commit to right now, saying anything at this point and below, I'm going to have to allocate? Because the first step you're going to have to do is recognize that, because here's the thing, let me back up. If you don't do this, okay, what's going to happen is that price point's going to come in lower, and you're going to be like, well, I could just take this one. I have time. I'll do it. And then this is going to happen again. And this is going to happen again. Yeah. The only way is to commit to it and almost draw a line in the sand and say, okay, I don't care if I'm not busy right now. I need to allocate this to someone else. I'll get my referral fee from it. Totally fine. You make the introduction. You do everything. You could even help the agent a little bit here and there, but they're going to handle the bulk of it. Or you could even do something different where, they do all the showings, they there for the inspection or the appraisal, whatever. You however you want to work it. I mean, I know there's going to be that part of hard to let go, but there's got to be a piece you let go at a certain price point. And once you figure out that price, you got to stick to it. So if you had to just throw a number out right now, what do you think would be realistic that you could allocate to, and no matter what?
I think like if it's somewhere further from me, maybe 350 and below, I would allocate at least, depending on the market and how far it is. I could raise that number up. If it's within my neighborhood, which it would have to be. There really aren't anything around it. If it was within a 10 to 15 minute driving range, I could do a different number. Okay. If I like that idea. I think what's hard is like some deals are easier than others. Selling a condo that's 350 in a place that has no inventory that's where I come in and I'm like, well, I could do that. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's why I need to have a number in the sand.
No, and you bring up a good point. I think we think we think it's going to be easy, but how often have you ever had that thought and it was a freaking disaster? Right? How many times have you had a property, you have multiple offers, you think you got it sold, and for whatever reason, after under contract, they back out, you got to relist it. I mean, you've been through it long enough where you've had these, so going, okay, maybe you do. And maybe you do actually do okay, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. After that, I allocate. You got to figure out what's going to work for you, right? So like, don't feel like whatever I tell you absolutely have to do, because what's going to work best for you. My point is just, you have to stick with it, because if you bend at all, you're going to bend completely, right? So it's like a rubber band. Touch it too much, it's never going back to the way it was, and that's just how our minds work. So what I want you to do is when we'll talk about that here in a minute, is just, I want you to create what that's going to look like where you can allocate. And then obviously you'll need to have that agent have that conversation. But I think that's going to be one of the biggest things for you is if you're able to do that.
Especially in the city with the driving, like, I think that's a good point. Because I'll sit in an hour of traffic for the possibility of making like a smaller check compared to checks I've made in the past.
Yeah. And
because I can't say no. And I'm like, well, what if the next place is bigger, which is true. That's how a lot of my clients most of my bigger clients were my first time renters, then condo owners, then sellers, then townhome, then sell, then house. So But I do think if I make okay, how well do I know the person? What's the price point? What's the location? And then I go from there. And then I do set a hard line of like, even if I have the time right now, that time can be better spent prospecting, marketing, my kids, my husband, whatnot.
Yeah. And you know what, you mentioned something earlier too that I want to go back to is you talked about providing really good customer service. And if you're driving an hour out for a $350,000 listing, like how are you going to provide if you're doing that all the time and you're chaotic and you're crazy as you are right now, how can you possibly, you get what I'm saying, right? So like the idea is you got to find the ways to simplify things in your life because your clients are not going to get the Julia they should get. That version, the one that you love presenting, and I could tell that the passion that you have for it, like they're not going to get that version. They're going to get the tired, the worn out, the frustrated one. And the thing is, that's going to now translate into all aspects of your life, not just with clientele, but with family things that agents go through is, when you're in that mindset and something bad happens, whatever your vision or version of bad happens, they take that and then they roll that into like the rest of their day. And we've all been there. We've all done that. We've had those days. Now, let me just give you a scenario, right? Like, let's say you had in the morning, you had a closing or deal that fell apart, right? You're frustrated. You're in that mindset already of stressed and frustrated. Now you're just adding this crazy layer on top and you're thinking about all the stuff you did to get to that point, and then it falls apart, the marketing, the showings, whatever it is, right? And then 2 hours later, you got to go sit for a listing appointment for $700,000. Like if you are in that mindset, when you go sit for that listing appointment, the chances of you getting that listing is going to be very, very slim.
Yeah.
And this is where agents struggle, I feel like, because they get themselves in this stress place like you're in, and then they let every little piece just add on layers and layers and layers. And then it just gets to a point where you almost like explode. And then you don't get that listing, and then it keeps getting higher and higher, or deeper and deeper, I should say. So, with you recognizing that you want to take care of your clients that well, you have to find how do you get those other clients taken care of so you can focus on these other ones and give them the best service, but also make sure those other people are getting the best service too, because you're referring this person to them or whatever. That'll create massive time in your day. It'll open you up for a lot more time with family, for yourself, getting back into exercising and taking care of yourself. Because if you don't do that and you keep this path you're on right now, those clients aren't going to get the best version of Julia either. So like we need to pull you back to the Julia that you want to be, the one you can be. And that's how you do it. You create that little bit of more time. And then when you create that little bit of time, just by doing something so simple as allocating, right? Letting go a little bit. Now you create more time for yourself. You create more time for your family. You create more time for your clients. And at the end of the day, you're a lot happier overall. You're in a way better place. And that's just one simple thing you could easily do. And I'm sure you're smart enough, you've been in this long enough to figure out how to do that. I don't need to walk you through it. You find your own system for it. But I guarantee you, if you spent the next couple of days just thinking about that and figuring that part out, like everything changes for you if you are willing to stick with it.
Okay.
That makes sense?
That's
something you could do?
Yes.
Okay.
Great idea. Thank you.
Cool. So that being said, so one last thing I really want to talk to you about. So now that you do this, okay, like let's say you put all that in place, what happens now, knowing all this that we just talked about, what happens if that $350,000 buyer comes in who's a past client, a friend of a friend or something, and they are an hour away? What are you going to do?
Well, luckily an hour is going to be a no for me. So that I was going to say, if they were 30 minutes away, my hope is if that person comes in, I've already lined up, either it's a temporary help while I'm trying to find better help. There is somebody I'm thinking about who I've started to have help me with things, even if I just can't make it somewhere. But I mean, he's with another team and another brokerage. So for now, he's reliable and hungry. But I think my goal, like you said, was to find somebody within my brokerage who I can sort of train as well, to be that person. And then, yeah, I think even if I'm not busy, even if I'm not making any money at the moment, I still need to send them off and send them to the other person and just say, I don't make the drive to South Loop anymore. It's too far for me. And this person named, let's say, Annie, is really good at with my city clients, and she'll be able to help if you're interested in working with her. So, and then I think something I need to do is take what would have been that time and prospect for other clients who are closer, who are higher price points, who can really benefit from my experience. And that's something I really should be doing in that time that, I would be out with the buyer.
Yeah.
I have a quick suggestion for anyone who is in this same exact position where you have these previous clients. You want to appease them because they're maybe your friends, they're friends of friends, they're referrals, they're repeat clients, and maybe the juice unfortunately isn't worth the squeeze, as we're talking about, and you have to push them to another agent. One of the things that occurred to me, Julia, while you were talking was that you could say something to the effect of, hey, especially, you live in the suburbs, you could say, I really have spent the last, 10 years focused more in my immediate area. And I'm not as well-versed in the South Loop anymore, but I have like the very best South Loop agent on like that I send this to. They're going to be able to do actually a better job than I can. So I know you're in unbelievable hands and I would love to do it myself. I just don't have the knowledge that this guy has. And so I'm going to shoot you over. Trust me, he's amazing. Whatever you can say it, and you probably would have said some version of that. I wanted to just tell the audience that's a very cool and exciting way to say politely, I just can't do this right now. But it's also probably true, right? Like that person probably does know that. I mean, we have 77 neighborhoods in Chicago. You can't know all of them. So
I know. Thank you. Say that louder, please, because that's also hard. It's hard to work Chicago when there are so many neighborhoods, and plus the suburbs. And that's a great point and something I would say. And also just if their job is just to work, let's say, okay, I don't really do much in the South Loop, but so I'll take the South Loop as a continued example. There's a broker there who also does, maybe goes as far as the Gold Coast. So they're spending their time there all the time. So if they have more free time, then they're going to be like ready to go whenever you need them, things like that. So it does help, but it's hard. It's hard to turn down business, which I guess this wouldn't be turning it down, but you don't know what somebody's going to buy the next time around. It's a hard thing to do. And
on the flip side, you don't know if they ever will buy again either, though. So there's a bunch of different sides to it. But one thing I will say that I appreciate, Julia, when I asked you that question was you didn't revert back to yourself doing it. So everything you said was finding someone else. I think one of the things that I would say, like, and I said this in the last episode too, is a lot of the things that we say to ourselves, the words we use has a lot of power. And you were saying, I think, try using I will instead.
Okay.
But when you use things like that, the words you say to yourself has actually an effect on how your mind works. They've done studies on this. And when you say stuff like that, it actually, you kind of almost convince yourself in a weird way that you're going to do it. So it's something I catch words a lot of times. And I always just like to make that suggestion. But you do that and you kind of go, okay, then I got to do it. And you seem like someone who goes, if I need to do this, I'm going to do it and get it done. When you say I will, your mind's going to go, okay, got to do it. Let's get this done. And then you'll find that person and allocate. So that's awesome.
That's a great
cool.
idea.
So
thank you.
Absolutely. So just to kind of recap. So now that we know what you're going to do, you had your price point. We know we're not focused on the 20 to 30 million anymore. It's that whatever that income number is, that's the goal. We want to hit that. That takes care of your family. That frees you up to live essentially the life you want. Spend the time with your family, take care of yourself, take care of your clients. Let's say you do all this now, put this plan in place, which you're going to do 100%. You've already committed to doing that. What does a year look like from now for you once this is all in motion?
I think it looks like I'm finally getting back into the markets that I want to be in, that I've been in. I'm kind of refocused on doing more business closer to home. I'm refocused on doing, I hate to say like a hot, bigger, I guess, next level to top level homes. I don't want to offend anybody because a home is a home and it's amazing to be able to own something.
We get it. Yeah.
So, but like, I guess more in the phase I'm in life, be able to help people buy their first homes or their second homes or their forever homes. To me, that's just more in line with where I am now. So I think that if I do these things, I'll be able to be more focused on that, and I'll get to spend time in homes that will probably house some future friends. If they're my neighbors, if I'm bringing more people to my town, if I'm showing people other towns I love nearby. I think for me, those clients and those homes are a better fit for right now. And then I won't be driving. If I'm driving 30 minutes, I'm driving 30 minutes to Wilmette and gonna stop, at the beach on the way home versus sitting in an hour of traffic going, further into the city.
Right.
And
how will you feel? Like, how will you feel like overall, like stress level, family
I think I'll feel
life?
a lot better because I think I'll be going in the direction that I want to be going in. And I think my business will be going because, bigger deals begets bigger deals. Like, it's just how it goes. So when I've sold a big home, people have reached out to me, touched base with me about selling their big home next door. And so I think that I'll be in the momentum will be the direction I want it to go in versus this. I'm kind of like, sometimes I find myself reverting back to what I did when I first started in real estate at 25. So I think I'll feel a lot better on a personal level. I think I'll feel better too, because my hope is that I'll have more time with my kids. If I'm focused more on the income amount and how to get there versus the volume or the units sold, then I'll know what I have to do to hit that while still having time with my kids. So I just think, overall I would feel much better.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. There's something. So I'm glad to hear you say that you feel it's going to be obviously beneficial. So let's lock this in, okay? Because I think one of the things is when a lot of people have coaches or whatever we want to call them a breakthrough, but like it's great in the moment, right? Like, we're super motivated. You go to a seminar, you're all good to go. You go home and maybe for like 24 hours, you're ready to go. And then 48 hours later, you're like, all right, whatever, I'm going back to normal. And it's just, I want to make sure it doesn't happen.
Okay.
What I want to give you on the way out here is just a 7-day execution plan. Very simple. Okay. Just follow this and make sure that momentum, but make sure that momentum sticks. All right. So for this week, I just want you to focus on, finding that time that you're going to create with the people that you are like. Just focus on what does that person look like? Who's the ideal candidate, and who's going to free up your time, right? That's one of the biggest things you could do. Next thing is, all right, so do that. Next thing, I'd actually like to see you, if you commit to it, give yourself a few minutes every day, maybe 30 minutes, just to decompress or just to sit with your thoughts, because you are in a really stressed out place. And I feel like you seem like you're in, I saw your shoulders drop early on. So I feel like now in this, and I want that to continue. So just 30 minutes, if that, or just whatever, just commit to some, maybe, you don't have to do meditation. Some people love that, but like, I could tell you one of the best things that I do every night is I read for 30 minutes at minimum every night. I put the tech down. I just do that, or I'll even sit there and just think about things. I'll go for walks. find some little bit of time, because the stress isn't going to go away right away. You got to find a way to manage it right now. And if you are too stressed out, you're not going to think clearly. So, I want you to just kind of do something so your mind works, so you could find the right and organize a bit, make sure you're achieving those goals. And then the last thing is, I just want you to feel like, kind of almost tell yourself you can do this. It sounds silly, but just like, I got this. I can do this. You've done this before. This isn't, reinventing the wheel. You got this. And there's one last thing I want you to do. So, think about what evidence to make sure the old pattern is not in charge. All right. So what I just want you to do is think about, like, what did you do today to make sure that the Julia before this conversation isn't coming back? And now this, I don't want to say a new version of you, but you get what I'm saying, that this person now that's got a plan kind of going forward to make sure that stays in place. Like, what did you do that day? Maybe it is reaching out to an agent. Maybe it is allocating. Maybe it is just taking time for yourself. But you kind of got to think about it. You could just write down a simple one sentence like, today I did a 15, 30-minute walk around the block without my phone, just to clear my mind, right? Because I want you to move forward every single day. And about this, and this, I cannot stress this enough, is what I'm trying to get you to do is create a compound effect here. Where every single day is going to build. Right. And there's a great example I use of this that you might, if you've heard this before, go ahead and tell me if you, okay. So like, if you had the option right now, if I said, here's $1 million, take $1 million, or I'm going to give you a penny. All right. But that penny is going to double every single day for 30 days. Which one would you take? First response off the top of your head. If you've never heard this, what would you do?
Like for 30 days and beyond, or just for 30 days?
Just 30
for the rest
days.
of my life.
Just 30 days.
I would do the penny.
Why?
Because if it's doubling every day, tomorrow it's 2 cents, then 4 cents, then 8 cents, and 16.
Exactly.
Right?
Most people, and the whole point of that
I don't know
is
how quickly would you get to $1 million though? Do you know that?
You supersede $1 million in 30 days. It's crazy.
You do supersede $1 million in 30 days? Oh, wow.
5.5. You would, in 30 days, you would make 5.5 million. The whole point of that, and the reason why I ask this to people is because most are going to jump on that 1 million, right? Because it's instant. It's that instant gratification we all want. If you delay the instant gratification and you just focus on the compounding every single day, then you're going to make 5.5 million. And when I tell this to people, it literally blows their mind if they've never heard it before. Like, you kind of got it before knowing what that number is, right? So, but the whole point of even explaining this is just that every single day is going to build on the next, right? So what you do today, tomorrow, what you do is going to build on today. And as you keep doing this, the systems become the systems that work. The time becomes the time that works. And probably even within 30 days, you'll notice a significant change. It's just that the biggest issue that agents have is a lack of consistency. So I really just want, the whole point of 7-day plan, as I call it, is just to create that consistency for you so that you can just keep that going forward every single day. And you do that. This is like DJ said at the beginning, I spent over 25,000 hours studying successful people. The one thing that every single one of them did was focus on every single day compounding, so that every single day they're getting better and better and better and better. Like if they're like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like every single day he was at the gym, his muscles got bigger and bigger. First example that came to my mind, but you kind of get the point. That's the biggest difference in successful people and not successful is consistency. And so if you do that, you already know all the other stuff, right? So that's easy for you. It's just, let's just be consistent in a way that works for you. You do that, sky's the limit for you. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. No, you're right.
Yeah.
And that is important and something I need to practice. But I think you make up a good point, whereas if you just do it for 7 days, it's all of a sudden you're going to do it for 10, and then you're going to do it for 14.
Yes.
And I've seen it happen with other things in life, like making my bed. Like just simple things where it's like, okay, you make your bed every day. And then you're like, oh, I make my bed now.
Yep. I always say, make your bed for 7 days and just see what happens in your life. Like I will tell you this, it might not get better, but your life will not get worse. It will actually improve. Your self-esteem will improve. I wanted to make one additional point because so many of us want to make these changes like Julia's making. Michael's giving her lots of great tools to do this. We also need the support of our immediate surroundings. So I would have a conversation with your family and say, mom's making a change, you know, to your husband, of course. I'm making a change. I'm trying to do this, which the reason I'm doing it is because I want to be more present in our lives. And I want to be, you know, not as frazzled and et cetera, et cetera. I want to be, you know, be a better mom, better wife, better whatever. And this is the way I think I can do it. So I'm going to need some support. I'm going to need some help. This is going to be a transition. It will be hard. Please, you know, cheer me up when I'm feeling down. Help me when I'm struggling, and get the buy-in. Get the buy-in from the family, because you're going to be acting differently, and that's going to feel different to everybody around you. And that might feel scary at first. So let them know, hey, things might feel a little different, but it's all for this amazing thing that I'm building towards, and everyone's, you know, it's a win-win. And I want everyone to think about this too. What Michael said, something very important, which I think is something I was taught, which is, you don't have to change the way you think about something to affect it if you're willing to change what you're doing. Like if you just change what you're doing, you will likely get the result. So for so much of us, it's, oh, I'm not the kind of person that does this or this. Just be the person that does it. Just do it. If you do it over time, you will get better consistency. And Julia knows this. And you will then become that person that, you know, so it's not a fake it till you make it, because you don't want to do it without competence, but it's I am becoming that person that does the thing. So it means I gotta do the hard things that I don't want to do. For me, it's making cold calls. I don't want to make cold calls. I never want to do that. But if I want to grow my business, that's what I have to do. And Julia's got her version of that. Michael's got his version of that. We all have a version of the things we don't want to do, the push-ups of life that we don't want to do, but would lead us to a better future. And we just have to do them. So my advice is always get a coach, get somebody that can hold you accountable. Michael Open has spent the last hour with Julia Lundquist, who is an amazingly successful agent in her own right already. I mean, the fact that she came on the show, which I didn't reach, it was amazing that she came to us, because she's already a huge success. And this is what I always tell agents. You know, I talk to top 1%ers all over the country every week. They all have problems just like the rest of us. We all have challenges. We're all the same. And hopefully you could see yourself, even if you're not quite at Julia's production level yet, or maybe you're even beyond Julia's production level, you're still going to have challenges within your business. And the same mind that created those challenges is probably not the same mind that will solve those challenges, which is why you should consider getting a coach. michaeloped.com is where you go to learn about all things Michael. We will have a link to his resources in the show notes. He is available for one-on-one coaching, and he has all sorts of other programs available to you. Michael, I know you also wanted to share a resource for any of our listeners who are considering sitting in the hot seat, which Julia so bravely and vulnerably did today, which is, by the way, not easy. It is not easy to bear oneself. You know, she essentially said, here's where I'm struggling. Not many people can do that. So cheers to Julia for the courage to do this publicly. It's a big deal. It is not easy. I honor you for that. I would have a hard time doing it. Thank you. But if you want to do this, Michael's got a way you can possibly be on our show in the future. Michael.
Yeah. So what I did was Julia being generous enough to do this. I understand it's not for everyone. That is super challenging to come in and be vulnerable. Totally understand. It's not in human nature. So what I did was I created something that I think will help people kind of understand a little bit more about what those patterns are that might be blocking them. It's something I call the Realtor Execution Block Scorecard. It's a very simple, it's like a simple quiz, so to speak. Takes 2 minutes. But if you go to michaelopid.com start, you'll see the page. You can click on. You can actually do an assessment, and it'll give you kind of an idea based on your responses on what some of the blocks or what basically your main block is that's keeping you from kind of executing. So if you go to michaelopid.com/start, you'll see it. It's pretty obvious. You could take that, and then if you see that and you feel like that's something that you want to address, then happy to have that conversation with you. And we could talk about doing a one-on-one session. But I think that's like the best place to start. It's completely free. And it gives you kind of an idea of what might be going on below the surface that you might not even realize is holding you back from achieving what you want in life. So I would just say start there. And, if you want to take it a step further, then we could have that conversation.
Well, thank you to Julia. Thank you to Michael for being
You're welcome.
willing to talk about your vulnerability, your challenges. Michael, thank you for bringing your expertise. Julia, thank you for bringing your honesty. And as always, the three of us want to thank our listeners for continuing to support our show. We do this for you. And if you want to get to the next level, you could possibly be on our show, michaelopid.com/start. We will have a link to that. You can do that quiz and maybe we'll have you on a future episode. Also, please support our sponsors as well. And the best way you can help us continue to help grow our show is by telling a friend. Think of one other agent that could benefit from this coaching session, because what Julia went through today is most agents' battle. Like, it's a very common battle. So have them listen to it, shoot them a link to this episode. We would appreciate it. And follow Julia on Instagram. That's Julia_Lindquist_. I'll have a link to that in the show notes. Also follow Michael on all the social networks, Michael Opid, OPYD, and we will have a link to his socials as well. These are two really great people that you want to follow. And I am so thankful to everybody, including our listeners, for being a part of this community. We will see everybody on the next episode. Thank you, Michael and Julia.